say.
My name is Dorine, and I'm a very grateful recovering addict. Hi. Good morning, sunshine. Look like y'all brought the sun and the rainbow in here this morning. It is so beautiful in here. For about a couple of minutes, I want you to turn around and find somebody that you don't know. Throw your arms around them and tell them you love them and give them your name. All right. All right. All right. All right. First of all, I'd like to thank WCNA17 for inviting me. You know, it's a beautiful opportunity that I've had since I've been in this fellowship. I have experienced so much love, and I've been so many places that I never thought I'd ever get, only due to this fellowship and the grace of God. And I want to thank you people for all the love that you have given me all around the world. Around the world. Isn't this something? An addict like myself, who was all washed out, done up, burned up, laid out, stretched out, whatever thought that I would be where I am today. And it's only through the grace of God. The theme of this convention, live your dreams. Live your dreams. I remember when I first come into this program here, hopeless, down, out, feeling like, very, very low self-esteem. How in the world was I ever going to get my life together? Not having any hope of anything, no faith. And God has long since been out of my life. I remember back in June of '68, I think I was on a suicide tip because I had gone down to be as low as any woman could get. I was a prostitute and I was a thief. And I had gotten to the point where I could not stand out on the corners anymore and get me a good job, because that's just how bad I was looking. And it's a good thing that I was a thief, because if I hadn't been a thief, I wouldn't have made a dime. I had to take to the alleys and all through the back street late at night. I'm standing up here today looking like a picture of health. But if you could have seen the mother a few 24 hours ago, you would say, my God, is there any hope? I guess I was weighing about 98 pounds. Had lost everything. My sponsor said, Dorine, don't take your teeth out today. And when I come in here, y'all seen I did have my teeth on, right? But I always say there's nothing for standing up here but my teeth, and they got to go. I call that image-breaking time. Because the mother thinks she's gorgeous, honey, with teeth, no teeth, whatever, honey. I'm all right. But I didn't always used to feel like this, I want you to understand. I didn't always feel like this. But it's only through the grace, and like I said, this fellowship, and you beautiful people, who gave the mother the vanity that she got today. I come in here, like I say, desperate. How in the world was I going to get my life together? Not knowing anything, nothing at all. I had gotten locked up in '68 for my last and final time. And I was sitting over in that jail, wondering, Lord, is this it? Is this it? How would I begin to get my life together? I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was sick and tired of the life I was leading. I was sick and tired of the way the people was treating me. I was sick and tired of the way I was treating myself, mainly. And I laid over that jail for 8 days. In 8 days, instead of me getting better, I got worse. They took me from that jail over to a hospital in D.C. called D.C. General Hospital. There they found out I had a heart murmur, and I also had a venereal disease that was in the first stage of syphilis. And if I stand up here and if I tell you all that I knew what was wrong with me and I was about to go somewhere and see about myself, I'd be telling you a darn lie. Because I didn't know what was wrong with me and I wasn't about to go anywhere to see about myself. So you see, I know, without a shadow of a doubt, that it's only through the grace that the mother is standing up here today. Still, I lay over that jail wondering what was going to happen to me. Because I had long since left my family. Because they didn't understand. Hell, I didn't understand my darn self. Wondering which way I was going to get started. Here I am, uneducated, unskilled, not knowing which way to turn. And you know how we can sham when we out there in the street. I had a hell of a gift when I was out there in the street. I could talk my way in and out of anything, just about. But if you put a piece of paper in front of me, I could hardly read my name. How was this woman going to get her life together? But I come into rooms like this, and y'all told me, Dorine, just come on in, sit down, listen, and everything's going to be all right. I could not understand that. Not until I walked into rooms like this. And this is when the hope began to start stirring in my soul. I begin to see people with smiling faces. I begin to see people looking good. I begin to see people talking good. I begin to see people walking good. And that little radiant of hope sort of popped up there and say, I wonder, would I ever be like that? I didn't feel like that, nor did I look like that. I felt like that I was the scum of the earth. Nobody wanted to touch me. Nobody wanted to be with me. But y'all told me, when everybody else had turned me around and told me they couldn't do nothing with me, to come on in here, no matter how wrong I was just right for y'all. So y'all took this bundle of human wreckage and began to start putting it back together a little at a time. And like we all do when we first come in here, we come in here either for the husband, for the baby, for the wife, for the job. Well, what happened to you? Well, if these people or these things would just leave me alone, or if they would just do what I want them to do, it would be all right. Well, what about you? You ain't said nothing about you yet. And that's where I was. It was everything and everybody else but poor Dorine. And the theme of this workshop is growing spiritually. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you today, there is no growth without pain. And the only way out of this thing is you got to go through it. You got to go through it. And that's what I had to do. I come in here and I just jumped in the middle of everything. And everything hurt me. Everything. The way you looked at me, that hurt. The way you talked to me, that hurt. My mama wouldn't do right, that hurt. My man wouldn't do right, that hurt. My son wouldn't do right, that hurt. Well, Dorine, Dorine, where are you going to start with all that hurt? I didn't know. I tried to look at my mama. I tried to look at my daddy. I tried to look at the baby. I tried to look at my husband. It just didn't work. I had tried to look at everything but Dorine. I come in here and you introduce me to our 12 steps. And in the beginning, all I could hear, going to meetings, people talking about the first step, admitting I was powerless over my addiction and my life was unmanageable. Oh, I could admit that I was powerless. But the unmanageability of my life, do you know, as sick as I was, I thought I was all right? It was everybody else that needed to fix it, not Dorine. If they would just do such and such a thing, or get such and such a thing, it would be all right. But Dorine had to learn that nothing in life has ever happened to me that I didn't set myself up for. Nothing has ever happened to me in life that I didn't set myself up for. And I'm not going to say that outside forces didn't play a part in it, but I had the main ingredients to put myself out there. And there's a gentleman that's sitting in this room today. I'll never forget, all I wanted to do was talk about my husband. If my husband would do this, and if he would do that, and he would just act right, and I, look, made a decision. My husband and I was together, and he was still actively using, and I stopped. And I come into the fellowship. But I could not hang with him. Because what he was about, I was not about. And I made a decision that my recovery meant more to me, as Tina say, what's love got to do with it? And I never forget, I hear a lot of us, we come in and we complain about our love life because people ain't doing what we want them to do. I'm talking about growing spiritually now. I did not know this. Like I said, all I knew is that I had to get in there and I had to jump in there and I had to start going to work. I had to start believing. I had to start having some faith. Because y'all told me, listen, y'all told me that it was going to be all right. And the way I'm saying that is the way that I'm feeling that deep in my soul. I don't want to let it go. My sponsor told me, he said, you got a decision to make. I said, well, what should I do? He said, that's on you. I said, good God Almighty. Here I'm a woman in the prime of my life. I ain't no chippy, you know, that I can say, look, hey, baby, you got to go because I'm getting ready to get me another one. You know, like they say, you can change them like you do streetcars. Now, the mother had to be real. I had to be real, real, real. So I kept wanting him to tell me what to do in my situation. It's all yours, Dorine. Pray on it. Ask God. I said, Lord, have mercy. I do not want to give this man up. But yet I didn't want the man the way that he was. So I was caught between a rock and a hard place. And I got down on my knees and I asked God to give me the strength that I needed to do whatever his will was for me to do. And that individual I'm talking about that's in this room asked me to go out in Maryland, way out in Maryland with him one night to a meeting. And I rode out in Maryland with him, and my whole conversation was on my husband. And he turned around and looked, he said, look, I'm sick and tired of hearing you talk about that man. He said, what about you? He said, Dorine, he said, you are a beautiful woman. You got a lot to offer. So that man is where he want to be, whoever he want to be with, doing whatever he want to do, and he's all right. How dare this sucker talk to me? And you know, like when somebody give you some truth, you know how your head start tightening up. And your stomach start balling up in knots. And this sucker had me way out in Maryland where I couldn't get out the damn car. And man, he laid it on me. I just fell up against the door. And what he was giving to me, nothing but truth and honesty. He said, work your program. Work your steps. I said, if this sucker don't shut up, I'm going to bust up upside his head. By the time we got back to D.C., there was a midnight meeting. I didn't get out the car, I fell out the car. That's how emotional entanglement that I had. He said, are you going in this meeting here? I said, no, I'm not. I am going home. And I went home with that terrible headache and that balled up, knotted up stomach. And I happened to be living alone. And oh boy, y'all know I got to be a little partner, I'll say, that pops up there every now and then. And I call him Slewfoot. Well, baby, Slewfoot had a good time with me that night. In that empty apartment. It was from the bathroom and the hot shower, the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, on the floor, up the wall, down the wall, out the door, in the door, not knowing which way to turn. And I was in total misery that night. I'm saying all this now to say, oh ye who have so little faith, come to me. I was afraid. I was afraid of being alone. I was afraid of being without somebody. And I didn't want to let go. Mind you now, yet I didn't want this man the way he was. But I was afraid to let it go. And somehow or another, with that fella talking to me the way that he did, I said, I got to do it. This man come in, and I told him, I love you, but you got to go. What'd you say? I love you, but you got to go. The things that you're about and things I'm about are two different things. Well, where am I going? Wherever you want to go. I love you so much that I want you to be happy. Listen now. This is not Dorine talking. And if you're happy in doing the things that you're doing, then that's what I want you to do. Being with the friends that you got, then that's where I want you to be. But you cannot be here with me like that. You gonna tell me what to do? Nope, I'm not gonna tell you anything to do. If you're not here. But if you here, you damn right I'm gonna tell you what to do. Well, whatever I do, I don't do it in here. I said, hold it. I told you I love you. And I remember the times I would say, all right, just don't do a darn thing in here. You understand me? And I mean that crap. But something stopped me and said, ho, half measures avail us nothing. If I don't want you to do it in here, I don't want you to do it out there either. So it's best that you go. And that's when my road really began. I'm talking to all the lonely hearts in here. I'm talking to the people in here that think there is no hope. I'm talking about it's going to be all right. How would I appreciate the sunshine out there today if it wasn't for the rain in the mother's life? There's got to be some rain in your life. All you got to do is just have a little faith and step on out there. A lot of times we want to know what the end result is. I can't tell you. God's not ready to reveal it to me yet. But do you have the faith, Dorine? A lot of things that I had to do way back there then, I'm just beginning to get the end results today. Good God Almighty. And that's because of all the pain that I had to go through it in order to get to where I am today. And if it wasn't for rooms like this and Narcotics Anonymous, no telling where the mother would be at today. And the 12 steps. I began to take a look at that first step. Yes, I was powerless. And oh my God, how unmanageable my life was. And everybody comes in here and they say, I want to get to the spiritual side of this program. There is no spiritual side of this program, because the whole program is spiritual. All you got to do is get in here and start working them steps. Come to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. I was not insane. I was not crazy. What do you mean, restore me to sanity? Crazy than a June bug. All I had to do was take inventory for 2 or 3 seconds. And remembering all them cars I done jumped in and nodded out and way over in Baltimore some damn way, not knowing where I done come from, where I done been, what done happening. One time waking up in a field where it was so pitch black out there, all I could see was the lightning bugs. And it's only through the grace that the mother's standing here now. How quick we begin to forget where we come from. And the moment I forget where I come from, I'm destined to repeat it again. God has been mighty good to me. We call him a high power, but I choose to call him God. And I want you to know that everything that the mother's saying up here today is of her own experience and is of her own personal stuff. This is what worked for me. I had to begin to recognize that there was a Slewfoot. I had to begin to recognize that there was going to be days and days and days and days and days. I had to begin to know where was I going to draw my strength from. And then I look out over this room, and I have a quotation. Unless then I can see the goodness of the Lord amongst the land of the living, then I do believe. And when I look out amongst this room, I see the goodness of the Lord amongst the land of the living. Woo! Then they told me to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. How was I going to do that? And believe me, folks, I joined church. And I got in church, and I would sing hallelujah, and I would shout amen. And after the church service was over, them feelings, you know, I'm talking about them feelings, them knotted up feelings, them feelings of uncertainty, the anxiety, everything would come back on top of me. This wasn't right. I began to start getting into the Bible. I still didn't feel right. And I began to start going around laying hands on people. Hallelujah, amen. And the folks would shout, ah! And you know when you're doing something, you know, you get that feeling. You just get that feeling, now this ain't right, because I really don't feel this holy. I really don't feel this holy. Then I begin to get confused, and a lot of us do. We come into this fellowship, then we try to get somewhere else. Then I begin to get confused until I begin to talk to some people, and these people begin to level me off. And I feel that I'm just as spiritual as any minister, any roly-holy person. Boy, I can sit up here and I can think of all the spiritual experiences that I've been through with and that I've had, and I can shout all over this stage and know without a shadow of a doubt what I am singing and shouting about. Good God Almighty. And that's when you know that 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 you know you know you know you know you know that you know. And I'm telling you, I do know about Narcotics Anonymous today. Great things did Peter, Paul, and Matthew do in their days. Greater things is the mother doing today in her days. When you get down to that fourth step, everybody's afraid of that fourth step. That's cleaning house time. Cleaning house. Taking that fearless and moral inventory. And you know what, folks? Can't nobody do that but you. Can't nobody do that for you. Maybe a lot of people in here that know Dorine, know of Dorine, and know some things Dorine done. But nobody is in here to deal with the feelings, the pain, the emotions, all the racked up things that I had to go through with. And I'll never forget the hardest thing in the world that I had to do. At the age of 8 years old, I was accused of being raped. But I didn't get raped. But the humility that I had to go through with at that age, people not wanting to speak with me, people not wanting their kids to play with me, people not wanting to be seen with me and things. 8 years old. At the age of 12, I did get raped, and that was a very brutal, brutal thing that happened. And before I could actually talk about that rape, I used to always talk about the time that I was accused of being raped, but it didn't happen. It did not happen. And when my doctor asked me that magical question, Dorine, had you ever been raped? My gut just balled over. A knot got in my throat. I held that from the age of 12 to the age of 33 years old before I could talk about that actual rape. These are the things that holds us back. And I always say, whatever I've done in my past is nothing I can go back and undo. The mother is about living today. That's where I am today. And I remember when I did get that out, it was just like a new thing that had happened to me. And I thank God for that. So many of us are sitting in here now, pinned down, holding up the garbage, and not willing to give it up. And I don't mean going to no meeting and saying, y'all, I got something I want to talk about. You know how you throw out them half-ass subjects that can't nobody get a grip on? Can't nobody even talk on, don't nobody know what you're saying, and you're going to get feedback from 1,001 person and don't know which way to go. What do you think you got the sponsors for? I tell my people, anytime you got something that's pushing you to that point, come and let's talk about it so we can see how we're going to resolve this thing. When you go to the meeting and you talking about it, you in the midst of resolving it or it's already resolved. And when they told me I could let myself go, I began to talk about everything under the sun. I talk about me and talk about 13 stepping in this program. I swear the mother never had no trouble. Because I talked about everything and everybody if it wasn't right. And I thank God for that. I had no problems during my 5th step. And I couldn't write too good in my 4th step. But I was told to write and spell as much as I could, and what I couldn't write, draw pictures. And I had a whole damn page of pictures. But the mother knew what she was talking about. I began to talk to somebody and get this stuff out of me in the 5th step. And Lord, we go into the 6th and 7th step. A lot of people feel like, hey, I'm getting ready to get rid of these defects of character and get ready to turn this stuff on over and I'm all right. But that's where the work really begins. That's where it really begins. Where it really and truly begins. I had one of my little people took up 5th step and went straight through a 6th and 7th step and jumped right on into the 8th step and hit that brick wall and said, I don't know what happened. I said, you wasn't prepared for it. Because what you was looking to get back, they told you it may not come back like that. So whatever it is, you got to accept it. Everybody asks me, Dorine, where are you? I'm always working my 11 steps, sorting through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with the God of my understanding. Because I find that this is the only thing that will get me through the day. Is that I can hook up and keep my channels open. Because I never know when God's going to send me a blessing. And whenever he sends me a blessing, I want to be wide open to receive it. But if I'm holding on some yesterday's stale news or holding on some stuff, my channels are clogged up and nothing can get through. All the blessings are going to pass me by. I don't care whether they're good or whether they're bad. If they're good, I'm going to take it and suck everything I can out of it right then and there. And I'm going to turn it loose. Because I never know when they're going to send me another. I'm not going to hold it until it gets stale. You know what somebody say, I want to keep this feeling forever. Oh, no. Because I might get another feeling better than that one. But if you believe, and if you keep the faith, and if you practice these principles in all your affairs, everything will be all right. And I'm here to tell you that it will be all right. When you get in the storm, and the seas start rising, and the clouds start getting dark, just grab hold and hold on and start rocking with the boat. Whoop, 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 whoop. And I guarantee you, whoop, the storm will pass right on over. The only way out of this thing is you got to go through it. And why do you think all of us in this room today, you know, today the mother knows she don't have to go through it by herself. Woo! Good God Almighty. And if I can do it, you can do it too. I'm going to wind this thing down. But like I was telling you about my husband, I left. 5 years, me and that man were separated. 5 years. I never thought that my husband and I would ever get back together. I did not even contemplate that. In fact, I was contemplating divorce. Next year, my husband will be celebrating his 7th anniversary. Ah! So you see what I mean when I say it's only through God. See, we so busy standing in the way. I never knew what was going to happen. All I knew is that I had to get in there and I had to go to work on Dorine and I had to work with the pain as well as the good time. And I had to begin to leave things alone. And nowhere in my wildest did I ever think that me and this man would ever be back together. But after being separated 5 years, so you can't tell me what can't happen. If you only believe, and if you keep the faith, and if you hang on in there, and if you go through whatever it is, you got to go through something in order to start growing. How you expect to grow if you don't go through something? We got a lot of crybaby, titty babies around here. I ain't got no titty to give. All you got to do is say, I'm hurting. It don't feel good. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way it looks. But you know what? You promised never, never, never to leave me alone, and I'm going on that promise, and it's going to be all right. I know that there's some people in this room that's hurting today, but I guarantee you, if you just hang on in there, and if you just keep saying to yourself, it's going to be all right. 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 But the love vibe that's in here tonight, in here today, I know I love you too, baby. Lord, where would I be without you? So what I'm going to do, I want to open it up. And I want some people to come up. Did I talk it over? I talked too much, didn't I want to open it up and I want to hear from some people. I want to hear about how you're hanging on. And if you're going through some changes, just believe that it's going to be all right. And see, in Narcotics Anonymous, we don't have nothing but winners. I see that young lady down there, but I have an attitude of gratitude, I hope. And it's going to be all right. So when you come up here, please use NA language. No profanity. I ain't cuss too much. And just be open. You know? Because we are all the same in here. And we all got that love that just boiling over. We got so much to give. Got so much to give. I'd like to sing, but maybe after we close the meeting, we can sing our song. I don't want to go get the traditions around here. But I want us to have a stomping good time before we leave out here. So without me going any further and telling y'all how much I love you and to hang on in there and to hold on, let me see some hands who'd like to come up. Oh, well, come on. If you want to line up, come around here. Line up beside if you want to come up. Make it easier.